This week, Honda announced their new Africa Twin, which will still be available in two models, the standard Africa Twin and the Africa Twin Adventure Sports. I've already made a fairly comprehensive video about the advancements made to the base bike, including more displacement and power, a redesigned frame and subframe, a TFT dash with Apple CarPlay, an IMU which unlocks more riding assistance and modes, some styling updates and plenty more. Check out the link to the full video in the description if you haven't seen it already. But in this video we'll look at the Adventure Sports in more detail, specifically what you get extra when set against the standard Africa Twin. The Adventure Sports is intended to be an even more serious long-haul adventure bike, and as such, one of its most appealing traits is a whopping 24.8 litre fuel tank. That's 6 litres more than the Africa Twin's 18.8, and with a quoted fuel economy of just under 5 litres per 100 kilometres, the Adventure Sports should be capable of around 500 kilometres on a tank, which is roughly 310 miles. For comparison, the standard Africa Twin should do 235 miles on a tank, so it's not an inconsiderable difference. In order to prevent rider fatigue over these long distances, Honda have also included additional wind protection in the form of a bigger fairing and side panels, as well as large handguards coming as standard. The screen is also height adjustable, which will help to fine-tune motorway comfort, whilst also giving the ability to drop it lower for visibility when off-roading. An ACC charger and heated grips are also standard, which will be well received in cooler climates. The old Adventure Sports was an exceptionally tall bike with the seat height adjustable between 900 and 920 millimeters. I haven't ridden one, but that sounds monstrous to me, and perhaps that was the feedback from other riders, as Honda have brought the Adventure Sports in line with the standard bike, which starts at a far more accessible 850 millimeters and can be raised to 870. There's also a low seat option that starts at 825 mm for us riders a little short of leg. Honda have beefed up the sump guard on the Adventure Sports to give the engine more protection from rocks, etc. when riding off-road. Aluminium insert panels also come as standard, along with an aluminium rear carrier which will presumably take a top box but could also be used for more casual luggage duties. There are also luggage options in the accessories catalogue, such as 42-litre premium aluminium top box and side cases, or larger 58-litre plastic units too. Not only has the inclusion of an IMU on both models for 2020 opened up cornering ABS and traction control, wheelie and rear wheel lift control, and cornering and incline sensitive gear changes on the DCT models, but on the Adventure Sports, it also enables cornering sensitive lighting. The LED headlamps will adapt to the curve of a turn when the IMU detects that the bike is banked over. You don't see this on many bikes, and although adaptive headlights can be bought from companies like MOTOBOB, it's a neat feature that really helps to distinguish the Adventure Sports. Semi-active suspension is also available on this model, unlike the base Africa Twin, and comes in the form of Showa's ERA system, which stands for Electronically Equipped Ride Adjustment. It takes input from the IMU and stroke sensors, which allows damping to be adjusted while on the move, with soft mode giving the most cushy ride owing to low damping force, whilst hard uses more damping to give a sportier ride, and mid is somewhere in between. The off-road setting increases damping force on the fork as stroke speed increases and uses higher damping force on the shock. The ERA system also allows for electronic control of preload on the rear shock whilst the bike is stationary, and has preset modes for riding solo, solo with luggage, 2 up and 2 up with luggage. But a user mode allows complete control of damping front and rear, as well as 24 notches of preload on the shock. I've recently ridden the MV Agusta Turismo Veloce, which had a Sachs-made semi-active system, and I've got to say I was really impressed with it. I can definitely see the value for someone who wants comfort for the big miles, but also the option to firm things up when the road gets a little more technical. Unlike the base model, the Adventure Sports gets tubeless tyres, which is something that owners of the last Africa Twin were crying out for. Tubeless tyres ought to make puncture repair at the roadside much simpler, with the ability to use a plug rather than having to get the wheel off to swap a tube. This might be a real selling point for some riders and reason enough to upgrade on the standard Africa Twin. It doesn't appear to be an option for the cheaper bike, and I'm not sure whether the Adventure Sports wheels are compatible with the base bike if you can find them as parts. All of this extra stuff sounds great, but it does add some extra weight. The Africa Twin comes in at 226 kilograms dry, whereas the Adventure Sports adds 12 kilos to come in at 238. DCT adds a further 10 kilograms, and Showa's Era another 2, so you could be looking at 250 kilograms if you opt for both. There's no word on pricing just yet, but the last generation bikes were £10,499 and £12,599 for the Adventure Sports, so expect a similar price difference on the 2020 models. What do you guys think of the extra kit? Is it worth an extra couple of grand, or does the more low-key styling of the regular Africa Twin float your boat? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.